I'm a Medium, Ask Me How was not filmed in front of a live studio audience. We best friends, but we love talking about dead people. We're gonna laugh and we'll cry. Well, Dana's gonna cry a little bit.
We got love bombs all over the place. And let's not act like Matt isn't gonna cry a little bit. But we're also gonna cuss. So if that doesn't resonate, turn the fuck around.
Yeah, we're gonna drop some fuck bombs.
But we also want to share our experiences and knowledge about mediumship.
So sit down, get comfortable, and remember,
you are the light of 100,000 suns. You are the light.
And enjoy.
I'm a medium, so ask me how.
Dana, did you just
Mathew.
Did you hear that little beep that Logan through tech just threw in there for that song? Like, can we give credit for Logan for writing our theme song?
Logan from IT wrote the most amazing theme song for us.
He did. When you showed it to me, I literally cried because I think we gave him like 6 references of 80s TV shows and we were like, you do this. And he came back with something awesome. So let's just take a round of applause. We're just going to clap. We're going to clap for Logan from IT. But welcome to I'm a Medium, Ask Me How. It is a podcast that we have just created. I mean, we took our time with this. We did. We were very thoughtful. But like, how did it come about, Dana? Do you remember the story?
Well, it's so organic. Well, here's the thing. Like, we talk about mediumship all the time. Like, we probably talk to each other 7 times a day.
Yeah.
And most of that is like, what do you think about this mediumship? Mediumship. And we also run a development circle every Tuesday. And there just happens to be this amazing topic that we come up with every single time. And Matt was like, this is a book. And I was like, which it maybe
one day
will be a book someday. But I was like, no, this is a podcast. Like, these are podcast topics.
Spirit was like feelers out there. Like, I got vibrations the minute you're like, it's a podcast. I was like, ooh, you thinking? I like it. And I think like people, if they don't know who they are, I'm Mathew Tao. I'm an evidential psychic medium. And who are you, Dana? Who is the Willy Woo?
I'm Dana Willey. And I'm a psychic medium, evidential psychic medium as well. And I love the woo-woo.
You love the woo-woo.
I love mediumship.
I can't think of Dana without the woo. So you just embrace the woo. But a little bit about our backstory is like, I had found you on TikTok at like that time I was doing the Psychic Yellow pages. And I would like scour TikTok for lives because I really like, I'm super passionate about mediumship. And I like to like promote good creators. Like, I think a medium one time called me a hype man. I was like, you're not wrong. And I had stumbled upon you and I was just watching you read. And it was so beautiful and it was so eloquent. And I know we warned about crying and you probably going to shed some tears, but I was just watching you go and I could feel it. And I think when you watch a good psychic medium, you can really feel the power building and the validation, and you can feel spirit in the room. And I was watching you and I was like, I'm going to add her to my little Psychic Yellow pages. And so I did, and I created my video, and then I linked you on it. And then you somehow got back to me. At that point, I didn't know how TikTok worked, and then the rest was history. So what was it like on your side?
Well, I think I had seen your Psychic Yellow pages before you found me. I don't know. I don't know how the evolution or the timeline actually worked, but I remember seeing your face and I was like, I know him. I don't know how I know him, but I know him. And I loved what you were doing. And it was because in the spiritual community, there's just a lot of competition and there's a lot of just like, it's about me, it's about ego, it's about this. And there was somebody that was like, hey, I'm here to promote other people. I'm here to talk about the beautiful thing that is mediumship and what we do. But there was just this like recognition of like, I know him. I know him. And I didn't know. And we've gone back. We didn't know each other.
No.
But I was like, I know him. There's something about this guy. And then you did make that psychic yellow pages about me. And I don't know if it was through our mutual friend Hannah that she kind of brought us together, or if I knew you first. I don't know.
Well,
but
you friended me, or you followed me,
Mhm.
and then I followed you back, and then Hannah somehow came into our orbit, and then like really kind of solidified, and then we became a trio. And then we met Cody and became a foursome. Then we met Kimmy, and it was a goddamn orgy at that point. Like we were just like, you're stuck with us. And we talk every day. And I call you like 8:30 my time. I'm usually on my 10-minute break at work. And we just start our day off of being like, how you doing? How's it going? And then we just evolved. And we evolved into this beautiful friendship where now we're teaching classes together and we're doing this goddamn podcast if it kills us. Like, it's going to be such a beautiful thing. But really what links us is mediumship. And like the healing and the evolution of what we're doing, and we're evolving as humans. But not only that, we're teaching people how to just go back to like the most simple thing that your spirit knows how to do. And that's spirit communication. Like, we're all connected, Dana. Like, it's just nuts. And so I think that's where I just really kind of fell in love with our friendship of being like, you get me. Because I mean, I met you for the first time in person last week, and I was in Denver. And it was surreal. How was it for you? It was surreal for me.
I love that you use the term surreal, and that was the number one question. And again, guys, I have to like, Matt and I talk every single day. And like, people think are like, oh, you guys are just like, you hang out on TikTok. No, you don't understand. Like, before he came to Denver, we talk all the time. So it was like just being in person. And it was never awkward. It was never, but you used the word surreal, and that was like the most apt description of what it was like. It was just, it felt very normal, the biggest thing was I could just like reach over to you and poke you.
Which you
and
did.
Was like,
you did poke me
and
in the airport.
I did hit you a couple times.
So I got to set a scene for this story, because we went to the Stanley Hotel, and a number that pops up for you a lot is 7-Eleven. Like, it just pops up because you have a special connection to that. And we were walking through the Stanley parking lot, and you had noticed the license plate that said 7-Eleven, and all of a sudden I felt like ooh, look. And my brain was not registering to look at the license plate. It was like, let me look at the make of the car. Let me look at like what she's talking about, because like me and you love Broncos, like the car of the Broncos. And so then I was like, it's not a Bronco. What is it? And then I saw 7-Eleven, and I was like, okay, this is the way Dana responds to something, where she gets really excited in person, because I'd never experienced that with you, besides like when we read together and when we get something correct, you do this clap thing. And I know that I'm onto something good. So I was like being prepared. But then you read for my cousin in person. And I got to tell this story too, because it's the joy of knowing you, is that I expect it now, where I'm like, oh, she get real excited. She living her best life. And you had mentioned, like, I was drawing a lamp at that point, and you were drawing a lamp. And then we ended up saying lamp, and you slammed your hands on the table, and my cousin looked like she was about to have a goddamn stroke. She was like, oh shit, I was not preparing this. So just know that if you ever meet Dana in person, she is a hitter. She's very like active. So it was really, really awesome. But it made me love you even more, because it's just, you just don't hold back. So thank you for being my best friend. I just want to say thank you. Should we talk about dead people now? Should we talk about like...
That's enough about us. Let's talk about the dead people. How did you become, like, how did you get here?
Oh, geez. It's like those stories where everyone's always like, I saw ghosts when I was little. Because like little kids are really aptitude to see that stuff. Like, they don't have life experience where somebody's been like, you're wrong. Or they are exposed to like media and religion. They're very pure, right? So they're going to see it. And I can remember being a little kid, being in my like babysitter's house. And I ended up seeing, like, I was walking into the living room from the kitchen, and I looked over on my left, and in the corner there was a rocking chair, and I saw this man there. And then when I looked back, he was gone. Like, he was like, nope, gotta go, you saw me, boo boo. And I'll never forget that moment. And I can't remember clearly if I had shared that, but I didn't see it for a while because I think our brain also goes into this protective mode of being like, you're not ready for this. So it kind of like shuts it down a little bit. But I can remember I had more experiences as I grew older. And I don't know if it's because I came from a lot of trauma that I didn't share. I was a very internal kid. Like, you would not find me outside playing with like my friends. I was downstairs with my little X-Men action figures living my best life. And those were my friends. But like, I didn't share that part of me until I walked into a development or a metaphysical store. I'm sorry, development. They offered a development circle there, but I'd walked in and the psychic was like, I get you. And that's the thing about psychic mediums. And I think that's the reason why our friendship works really well, is because you experience things that I can relate to on a level that like the average person does not get. And so I think it's easy for psychic mediums and mediums to understand like us feeling somebody else's energy as like a very spongy thing. And so then she was like, you see people, like going back to my story, you see people, and something clicked where I was like, I don't know if it was like a feeling, special feeling. I don't remember what the exact feeling was, but something in me lit up. And then I was scrolling through Facebook and one of their development circles rolled up on my Facebook. And I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to do this. This is something I've been interested in. And then I went and got in the shower. It was at 6:00. I'm usually a half an hour early because I have a problem with being early. And I remember a voice in my head when I was taking a shower that said, this is going to change your life. This is going to change your life. And I trusted it. I was like, I went and I felt like the first circle that I ever went to, it just solidified who I was as a core person. And it took a while to own it in this development circle. And it was an intuitive development circle. It wasn't even a mediumship development circle. But I think at the beginning, we don't know the difference between either. And then I started developing my intuitive abilities, but my mediumship kept coming up over and over and over again. And I had to embrace that in my mediumship development. And the cool thing about it is they created a class for me. And then, yeah, they created a class specifically for me. And we're like, okay, well, we need to have some development, blah, blah, blah. They were very gracious. Our values didn't quite align. And I think like some of the things that they were teaching were not what resonated with me. But a lady in the class was like, you need to go here. Like she was part of the spiritualist church for a really long time. And she gave me a business card. She pulled me off to the side because she wanted to be respectful of the owners. And she was like, here's a journey within with Janet Nohavec. You need to go here every Tuesday night. And I went and I found my home of like at that moment of where I needed to develop. And I was so excited and it just took off. And then I just went from there. I had to unlearn a lot, but I met some really amazing people along the way. And now I'm a working medium. What about you? What's your story?
My story was, I think speaking about like kids are just, they have that awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the life experience. And I think being a medium and connecting to spirit is actually the most natural thing that we can do. So I think we all have that ability, but I definitely had that as a kid, right? Like I definitely had the ability to connect as a kid. And I have multiple memories of just those experiences. And it was something that I thought everybody could do. So it's not something like I really piped up about or said anything because I just felt like it was something that everybody did or everybody understood. There's a few things that I piped up about that I got some weird looks on. And I was like, oh, okay, awkward. It's weird that you don't have this. And so I kind of started to be quieter about it. The big one for me was when I lost my dad. And then there was some big things that happened when he died, that are big personal stories for me, but that were like, oh, this is big. This is bigger, than just, I see a few ghost people here
Right.
and there and
Right.
whatever. But I really, throughout my whole life, had repressed everything. And I'm not going to tap into this. I'm not, this is just something here. And I just talked to my dead dad. And that's all that this is going to be. And about 2017, I just got hit over the head with it. And it was actually through a lot of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
in addition to just it being time. I think that I had repressed it for long enough that Spirit was like, that's cute. We actually need you to show up and work. I always say that my human didn't choose this, my soul did.
Oh, 100%.
Like
100%.
it takes so much vulnerability and like getting out of your comfort zone to do what we do that your human like nobody in their right mind would like choose to say the weird shit we say and like like
It's
do
true.
the weird shit that we do. So, but I got pushed out of my comfort zone and it was just like, it's time, you've got to do this. And it was through trauma. And I went through a lot of therapy and it was just like I was hit over the head with it. It was overwhelming. It was hitting me every single day. And for me, it was like, I have to figure out what this is. This has been stewing. It was just like a pot bubbling, like simmering my whole life. And then it had become a boil. And it was like, I need to finally figure out what this is. So for me, it was going to development circles and figuring out like, what is this? Is this actually all in my head, or is there some validity behind it? And so I remember going to my first development circle and calling my husband afterwards and like, I'm actually good at this. Like, this is actually legit. And so a lot of my development was through development circles. I always talk about, because I want it to be well known that like, I think classes are amazing and learning from people, it can be so amazing, but I didn't have the funding to do it. And I think about an opportunity where I had the opportunity to take a $75 mediumship class, and I had signed up for it, and it came to the day of doing it and I didn't have enough money in my account to go. And I didn't get to go to that mediumship class.
Oh.
So I did a lot of my learning through books, through YouTube, but I worked it. I was meditating every day. I went to development circles. I scrimped and scraped to make sure I made it to development circles. I made it a priority in my life to really tap in and work. I did a lot of my development through my spirit guides. And I've kind of asked them like, why this route? Why this route? Why did you make me go this route? And they've been very clear that they were very intentional in developing me the way that they did. It's also my learning style, I think, a little bit, is to kind of figure things out on my own instead of being told how to do it. I think that was important for me, especially as I've stepped into a teaching role in mediumship, to like be able to do that. So yeah, it was through a lot of development circle, a lot of sweat, and I still consider myself a developing medium. I think with every single reading, I grow and I learn, and every day that I talk about it, every day with spirit, every day I sit in the power, every time I meditate, I'm learning and growing with spirit. So I always consider myself a developing medium.
There's a couple of things that they don't tell you about, like, because there's no instruction manual, right? Like, you never being like, oh, start at point A and you're going to get to point B. But there's a couple of things like I wish I would have been aware of in my development was, A, it's pricey. You have two options. You have an option that you can do independent learning like you did, or you can do development circles, foundational classes, mentorships. Like, you don't realize that not only are you paying for like the development itself, you're paying for the medium's time, right? Because it takes a really developed medium to like really be accessible to you, and the dedication that it takes. It's not like you get lost in this, and it's not like a bad thing, but you literally, it becomes your life, because not only are you learning a new skill, you're learning a new vocabulary, you're also finding people that you are related to, like not like physically related to, but like as far as like your tribe. I don't like using the word tribe because it is a cultural thing, but like you find your people, and then you become like immersed in it to where like you can't hold a normal conversation anymore with normal people without this coming in. And I think I wish I could have known that in my development early on. Like, what's one thing that you wish you could have known?
I wish that there's a few things. I wish I would have enjoyed the process a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because Matt and I run a development circle every Tuesday, and we literally fight on who gets the beginners.
Mm-hmm.
Because we enjoy being with the beginners so much because there is a spark that happens. There's this, like, when you see them get it, it's like the most beautiful thing
Picasso
ever.
Mm.
And I wish I would have enjoyed that discovery process a little bit more, because I think we're always in this comparison thing of like, I'm not as good as them, or I'm not doing it this way, or you think that it's supposed to be a certain thing and it's not. So I wish that I would have enjoyed where I was instead of trying to always get somewhere, and just enjoyed like being where I was.
Or overthinking it. Like that's a huge one. Like when mediums that are like first starting out, they're like, oh, like surrender. Like, do I need to lay on the floor? Right? Like, because surrender is a very complicated word in this whole thing, right? Because your mind wants to go to just like releasing, right? But it's literally letting go of like, I don't care about the outcome. And you overthink it and it holds you back and you get frustrated. And it's like learning simplicity and trust and working on yourself. Oh, and that's another thing that they didn't tell me about, like how much of your own personal issues will continuously keep coming up. Like you never fully heal, and you don't need to be fully healed to do mediumship, but you need to start like acknowledging like your personal problems and start dealing with them as they're arising, because you like it's constant. There might be a week that you have like, horrible dads for an entire week, and it's almost like spirits going and being like, hey, you stop, pay attention to this. This is affecting you.
Oh yeah. I will say too, like becoming a medium, I am more authentically me than I've ever been in my entire life. Again, it's that vulnerability factor. You have to shed your ego in a way that I've never imagined. Everybody thinks it's such an easy thing.
Nope.
When I talk to people, we've done a couple of events together. We both do private readings, and we still get nervous sometimes. And people are like, why? And it's like, because every single reading is different than any other reading you've ever done, because every spirit's different, every sitter's different. Every single time we sit down with spirit, there's obviously some commonalities, but every single experience is different. And you're like, what am I showing up to today? Exactly.
And I think that's why you need friends, right? And you need friends that can relate to you, and just kind of like make it full circle around friendship. Like I would have a lot of feeling alone. And I think a lot of developing mediums feel alone because they don't have somebody to be like, not that you need that confidence booster, but somebody that understands what you're going through, how it's working for you, how it's working for them, and you feel a little less alone. So like there's a lot of the times when I go into my development where I'm fucking nervous. And so I'll call you and being like, Dina, like, I'm really nervous. Like, I have readings later today, and it's just like this sitting on my mind expectation thing. And I know it's just me, right? But sometimes it's nice to just bounce that off of you. So thank you for letting me bounce that off of you. Like, I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you for being my friend and for having these conversations that my family doesn't want to have.
Oh my God. Yes, no, for sure. I think there's a point of like being a medium where they're like, is your friend busy? Like, why are you telling me this? And they get sick of it, right? Because they don't understand it. So it took my family a while. I think like last week going to see you, I think my grandma really had some eye-opening conversations. And it's one thing for one person to be like, I talk to dead people and blah, blah, blah. But it was almost comforting that like you opened my grandma's eyes. Like she didn't know what this was about. She knew that her grandson was interested in it, and she loves everything that we do. But I remember her saying to me at one point, she's like, can we just go back to art classes? Because she couldn't handle it. But then you had swooped in, and here's this I'm going to say normal because there's no definition of normal. I'm going to use quotes for those who are listening, that you walked in and here's this normal looking person saying the same things and is very relatable. And it opened her eyes to be like, I'm 86 years old. I can get out of my comfortable zone around this. And she just set her beliefs aside and she really listened. And when the last day that I was there, she was like, I believe what you're doing. I believe what you're doing. So just know that you have my support. So it's beautiful, but I couldn't have gotten there if I didn't have a friendship. Right? So I'll be forever indebted to you that my 86-year-old grandmother believes that I'm not taking somebody's money and not doing anything. So thank you, Dana.
I'm going to send you a bill for that.
I'll pay you in tacos. Are you cool with that?
Yes!
Yeah, Taco Bell.
I love
We got to
tacos.
get sponsored. We got to get sponsored one day.
Oh, that'll has to be our first sponsor.
Oh,
is
please,
Taco Bell.
please. That Baja Blast, as I say to Hannah, we got to get that. We got to get that funded.
Yes, absolutely. So, this is a space, just going full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Matt and I are best friends. We want to welcome you to our friendship, to our little chitty chats about mediumship, because it is something that we hold so near and dear to our heart. We are passionate about it. We love it more than anything.
Oh,
and
my heart beats a little faster, Dana. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you hit the nail on the head on that one.
Yeah, we just hope that, if you love mediumship as much as I do. I'm sorry, I can't do Moira like you do.
If you love mediumship as much as I do, you love the craftsmanship and quality of I'm a medium, ask me how. My face, I could probably do physical mediumship just with my Moira voice. Like maybe she's my courage guide. I don't know. Well, Dana, I think this is a really good start, and I hope that you guys all enjoyed this podcast and that you fall in love with us as much as we love you, because I think a lot of you guys are coming over from TikTok or wherever you've met us. And for those that are new, welcome, and it's just enjoy the ride. Dana, do you want to close it out with anything special?
The way to put me on the spot. No, I'm just kidding.
Is that what friends do?
What am I supposed to say?
Say something eloquent.
No. Say, you special, you nice, you smart, you pretty.
You smart, you kind, you was important. Well,
no, we're open to hearing your ideas. Mm-hmm. We're going to put our email in the show notes, also how to find us. But this is as much for you guys as it is for us to just hang out. We want to continue to build community, because community is very important. And really understanding that you're not alone.
No.
And we want you to feel a little less weird and just feel part of our little friend group. So Until next time.
We love you all. You're in our heart. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Love you. There's the exit.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye now.